The CDC and the World Health Organization say the pandemic is over. Sorta.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that because John and Nancy are still talking. So the CDC says that the COVID-19 health emergency is over, and the World Health Organization say they are ending the global health emergency, quote unquote. Now, what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Well, COVID isn't going anywhere. We know that. The damage it's doing to humans, though, is declining. So they're going to treat COVID. Yes, it's a disease. It's still out there, but they're not calling it an emergency anymore. In fact, epidemiologists, medical historians believe the virus now has transitioned into something that's more predictable and less dangerous.
It was
Although some people are still getting it.
Yeah,
there are thousands of people in the United States still getting COVID every week.
Well, and over 1,000 people are still dying every week from COVID nationwide. But so it's serious. It's it really
still there.
It can kill you if you have got issues that it can take over. But I will say, during the COVID years, during the pandemic years, what did that start? 2020.
Correct. March 21st. I think it was March 21st, 2020.
I think, as annoying as it was, across the board, we did well. We did a pretty good job of really coming to terms with what a pandemic could be, because the last one was, 100 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And we're much better at discerning and disseminating data now. So I think with all the mistakes we made during the COVID years, I think we learned a few lessons, too, which will aid us in the future. At least I hope so.
Well, I hope we don't have a pandemic here in the near coming future, but yes.
We're going to have another one at some point in time, and hopefully some of these lessons that we learned will make it a little less ridiculous next time. So we thought we'd look back a little bit on some of the weirdest things that we remember from those years of the pandemic, just things we were asked to do, behaviors that changed.
Well, like yesterday, I was just going through my phone. I was actually just going through my phone trying to get some space on my phone, so I was deleting pictures. But then I came to 2020 when we were in the lockdown, and I went through pictures of what we were doing and the pictures I was taking, and I used to write in a notebook the things that my family would do every day, which was nothing because I was going to work, but everybody else was still in lockdown. It's like bake bread. Walk on the treadmill, watch a lot of TV. But then I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, just to go back there in my brain, it was uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable because it was an uncomfortable time.
Well, we were in an uncomfortable time because you were being told a lot of different things, and the messages changed a lot, and the severity changed a lot, and you wanted to do the right thing. It was very interesting because a lot of people had their entire life disrupted because people said, you can't go to work. Mm-hmm. We're shutting you down.
That's where John and I, we were actually glad we were able to get out of the house and come to work. We came to work because our jobs were deemed essential.
That's correct.
Whatever that,
Well, we were
means.
essential, and that's the thing that made us, that allowed us to come into work. They can't shut us down, so we were allowed to come in here. And
we actually had papers. They gave us a paper that said if it got to the point where you would get stopped by an officer who says, why aren't you in lockdown? Because, in different countries, the lockdown was much more severe than it was in the United States. We actually had a paper that we were put in our glove compartments that said we were essential workers.
Yeah.
That we were okay to be out, if you will.
Yeah. As if they wouldn't recognize us anyway.
Oh, they wouldn't, for sure.
But the thing is in that way, selfishly, I didn't feel the pandemic like a lot of people did. Or I should say we.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they said, you cannot go to your job anymore. You can't go. You can't go do. Our daily routine didn't change that much. No. We still came here. We still did the show.
Afterwards, we left because there was nobody in the office.
Right. But we did have a plastic barrier between us.
So weird.
For a long time between Nancy and I, because we sit about, 4 or 5 feet from each other. So we had to have this plastic barrier in between us, which I am now lobbying to bring back.
Can it not be see-through either?
And I want it to be thicker.
Yeah. Maybe.
But it was always a constant reminder, to me at least, of wow, this is not really affecting me like it's affecting a lot of
Right.
people, right?
Like everybody in my family, I don't think they left the house. Like I don't think Bruce left the house for months.
All right, well, here are some of the things that we remember from the pandemic years that did affect everybody.
Yeah.
So it was hoarding. Okay, so
There was some
people were hoarding stuff. Remember, there was a period where stuff started to disappear off the shelf.
like you couldn't find it on the shelf.
We decided we needed a few things as a nation, and it all disappeared like on the same day. Number one was toilet paper. All of a sudden, it's like, what?
But people got ridiculous.
Got ridiculous.
Like we would not get ridiculous. We did go to you go to Costco and get the big one or whatever. But people got ridiculous. I think we've talked to some people who still have toilet paper.
Oh, yeah, people still have tons of it, yeah.
From the pandemic.
But do you remember going to a grocery store or to Walmart or wherever, and you would walk down the paper aisle and they were empty? The shelves were empty.
Or if they did have any, it was limit one per person.
I have told the story before, but my toilet paper story from the pandemic was I finally discovered that
the secret. He discovered the secret toilet paper
when I was there for an unrelated reason that Menards was selling big packs of toilet paper. And no one was, they had plenty. You know what I mean? It's
Nobody knew Menards
people weren't going to Menards to get toilet paper.
Right.
You know? So all of a sudden, there's all this toilet paper. I'm like, dang, look at that. So I bought a couple of big packages of toilet paper, and I'm wheeling my toilet paper through Menards in my shopping cart. And this woman, I am not making this up, this woman looked at me like death. Like you are taking all the toilet paper. She didn't
You're part of the problem.
She didn't
John.
say anything, but I said there was no sign that said I couldn't buy two of these. Leave me alone.
Right.
I felt like this, like I was doing some horrible thing. Other things that disappeared. All of a sudden, you could not buy hand sanitizer. That was gone.
Oh yeah, and the wipes. The wipes
and the Clorox
were very
wipes.
hard to find.
You could not find this stuff, which was so bizarre to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we've caught up now on all that. It's back to getting hand sanitizer.
Although the chain supply in general got backed up.
Right.
Like even to this day, though, I think that things have changed per chain supply. Like there are products that I go and look for in a certain grocery store, and they're always out. Or you know what I mean?
Right. It just kind of changed the behavior. So we're talking about just how weird the pandemic got because they've now said that at least we're past the emergency part of it, emergency health risk. That's been wiped off. We're now just kind of getting back to normal. So that was the other thing about hand sanitizers. All of a sudden, you carried one with you everywhere, right? All the time. Still do. I got one in my car.
People were wiping down their groceries when they came home. Gosh, that's the kind of ridiculous. Like, oh my gosh,
ridiculous,
seriously.
Right? Everybody started baking bread.
Seriously, we made so much banana bread. That was it. But then there was the sourdough starter trend. So you needed yeast. So yeast was one of those things that you couldn't find. You had trouble finding too.
And every restaurant all of a sudden had to do curbside service.
Yeah. That was tough.
Which was difficult for them.
Yeah.
Difficult for people buying stuff. I mean, at least they were being allowed to operate in their restaurants, but you couldn't have people inside. Yeah. So they started curbside service. A lot of restaurants were bad at it, but you went anyway and tried to help them out. Yeah, because they were your favorite restaurants.
And then they created the outdoor space.
Right.
That when they got a little bit less strict. Yeah.
Things got weird. All of us started watching Tiger King for some strange reason.
Okay, I would have never watched Tiger King if I wasn't stuck at home.
Never.
But I couldn't look away. It was like a train wreck. I couldn't look away.
I got through one episode and I said, I hate all of these people and I'm not spending any more time with them. But a lot of people did.
All right, these were kind of fun. The Zoom parties.
That were not fun.
No, the Zoom parties or the drive-by parties. Like my friend, I think her daughter was turning 9. Okay, a little girl turning 9, she wants a birthday party, but she couldn't have a birthday party. But her mom arranged for families in their own little cars to drive by and do like a little drive-by, like, happy birthday, Lily, happy birthday. And they would give her a present. And
we both have kids who had drive-by graduation ceremonies.
You're right. Well, yeah.
You drove in, you got your diploma, and you drove past.
Well, ours was
Did you have it outside?
Yeah, ours was outside, but it was definitely different.
It was very different.
It was like a walk by. We walked up and
I had my oldest daughter graduated from college during that time, and her senior year just got screwed.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
You know what I mean? A lot of it was online. I think she had one class on campus that had a lab. Other than that, completely antisocial class. And the graduation ceremony was at the football stadium with everybody had to be outside, everybody was distanced. No one, it was just weird and unfortunate. I felt bad for her just because she didn't get that final senior year experience. One thing about the Zoom gatherings, okay? So we would have to have Zoom gatherings with my wife's family and her elderly parents who are almost 90 at that time, and getting them to get on the same page with the technology, that was the first 45 minutes to an hour of the meeting.
Well, we all did learn how to Zoom, didn't we?
Yes,
and
we
now,
did.
actually, Zoom meetings still continue for our office.
They do.
They do.
I think it's just easier now, though, because, and this is the thing.
It was a new thing, though.
I'm glass half full, guys. Some of the good stuff that came out of the pandemic was, one, everybody started to kind of think about, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't be sneezing on people, and maybe I should wash my hands more, and maybe I, do that kind of stuff. The technology says, well, maybe we don't all have to be in a big room at the office. Maybe we can just
and of course
freeze up a little extra work time. Right?
Of course, working from home, that was like one of the biggest changes, because a lot of that has continued. Although offices are now and businesses are like, we'd like to come into the office a couple times a week, but a lot of people still working from home exclusively.
CDC and World Health Organization now say the health emergency for COVID-19 is out. Everything's trending down, so that's good news. I mean, it's still dangerous, but you're not, chances of anything really bad happening to you are limited. So we're just kind of talking about some of the weirdness of the pandemic years. Well, I mean, the masks are a given.
The big one is the mask.
Yeah. Did you ever have mask stress? I did. Like, I'd forget a mask. I'd get in my car, I'd be halfway to somewhere, and I'd go, I forgot a mask. And you'd be like, can I go in?
Yeah, because usually they had
in?
masks that they would provide you.
Some places did, some places didn't. And then
then you'd be the guy without the mask.
Well, no, I would pull my shirt up, you know what I mean, over my mouth and nose, walking around through a store with my shirt pulled up over my nose.
And remember
it felt so weird.
Basically, that sparked a whole new business. Masks.
Yeah, for
online, sure. New designs.
Yep.
Designer fun
masks.
Designs. Yeah. I mean, we still have them around the house, I think, because But I have to say, I was like, oh, we'll never get to masks. When we like early in the pandemic, I'm like, oh, we'll never be wearing masks in the United States.
We were talking about this on the radio show the other day. Remember supermarket arrows? Where you would walk into a Hy-Vee or something, and they go, you have to walk this way in this aisle, and sometimes it would take you like 45 minutes to get around to the aisle where you needed to be.
Seriously.
What a pain in the neck.
People were on edge, because I went to a grocery store. I was at a grocery store. I mean, if you're coming out to a grocery store, people are going to be there, okay? I was wearing a mask. There was one lady, and she had a frozen door open, like in the front. And I opened the door next to her. She yelled at me for being too close to her. She yelled at me. So everybody was on edge. Because then I was like, hey, lady, I'm just getting some waffles.
Nancy's getting ready to throw down over frozen waffles. I was
just like, don't yell at me. You're in a grocery store, and we've got our. I was like, don't yell at me for getting too close to you.
I agree with that.
But everybody was like
did
that
get a little. Yeah, everybody was. Well, you remember how it was. If you'd sneeze or you'd cough, they'd ask you to go home from work.
Or people would look at you like,
or they'd look at you like you're going to kill me. I'm like, come on now. Now, I will say, I did eventually get the virus, and it sucked for a couple of days.
I had it for like 3 times.
But we got through. You seem to get COVID like every weekend.
But I never had it bad.
Yeah, and that was a good thing. I mean, so those were pluses, and we got through it, and everybody got their vaccinations, and now we've actually helped kind of push that disease on down the road, which is collectively as a society, that was cool. All right, one last thing.
Okay.
What souvenirs do you have from the COVID, the pandemic eras?
I mean, I'm just going to say I've got the masks.
You have the masks.
I've got the masks. I've got some tucked away somewhere. And then what else were you going to think?
Well, you just said you had your notebook.
Yeah, I still have the notebook. I still have the notebooks tucked away. My kids hated it, too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I would post it on social media.
Oh, no.
Because they were like, Mom, don't do that. So I stopped doing it when they asked me. But yeah, so those two things I have.
So you mentioned the one thing that I still have, which I can never get rid of, was my Homeland Security letter.
Oh, yeah.
That says I can get past the roadblocks
but you're special.
because I am essential. And it's signed by the Homeland Security director, whoever that was at the time. And I got it in my car to this day in an envelope.
Do you really?
Yes, I do. I'm keeping that.
I don't know where mine is.
Forever. That is a That is the weirdest thing.
I'm going down to my car to see if it's
It
still in my
literally
car.
says if I'm stopped, I'm to show this to the authorities and they will let me through so I can broadcast my radio show.
Do you think that if you got pulled over today, you could just pull that out and say, "Here, officer"?
Oh, good idea. That's even better. And then the final COVID souvenir that we have, the pandemic souvenir that we have. So at the time, we had everybody came home. All the kids came home. Everybody's home. We had 6 people living in this house.
My son had to come home from Spain.
Right. Everybody had to come home.
It was
right.
like,
So everybody came home to reassess. And so we got 6 people living in the house. And we had still have, to this day, a name denoted mask rack in our mudroom. So it's hooks hanging along the wall, separated by about a foot each, and they have a name on it, and that's where you hung your masks. So you would grab it on the way out. The mask rack remains in the Riley mudroom for all time. So there you go. Remembering the good times. Thanks for joining us. If you keep listening.
We'll keep talking.
Ooh, that was a weird one.
Woo. See ya. Bye.